My load of laundry is almost done, so we're gonna get started around that point. Oh, she's a gray-haired biddy, is she not? For those of you guys who are not watching this live, check the description block. Check the description box below, and there you will find the deets on where you need to skip around. You don't have to stay here for this. Moy, hello. How are you? Welcome to the live. Oh, hey. Hello. How are you? Hello. Wow. Moy and MW. Never seen you guys in a live. So glad that you caught it. Hard to know, girl. We know each other. We go together. Waiting for more people to come into the room. Dedria, hey girl, hey. Yeah. I'm doing laundry. Let me tell you. Good. I'm doing laundry, and the story is, this is what it is. For those of you, the 8 of you in the room, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Is that I was sitting here and I was like, oh my God, Love After Lockup is done. I don't have anything to do on Mondays. So let me have myself a little beverage. Okay, a little margarita beverage. Let me take a shower. Let me put on a little YouTube AI video where it's just a beautiful autumn snow, not autumn, wintry, snowy with a fireplace. Let me write in my secret Substack. You know what I mean? Let me just be here. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, I don't got nothing to do. That's so cool. That's so cool. I got the night off. I can actually probably get to work on time tomorrow. All of that. And then I said to myself, oh my God, Love is Blind. When am I gonna talk about Love is Blind? And I was like, oh, I'll talk about it tomorrow. But I'm like, no, I can't talk about it tomorrow because I have 90 Day Fiance the other way, as well as Seeking Sister Wife. And then I was like, Wednesday? And I'm like, oh, no, you can't on Wednesday because you have dress rehearsal for your pole class showcase. I signed up to be in the showcase, my pole class. And I also signed up to volunteer to get free classes to be a pole wiper, meaning that in between the sets on the days that I'm not doing my showcase, I'm climbing up a pole and wiping it down. And I was like, there is no other time but right now. So you better get up off of your comfortable couch, filter through the haze of a margarita beverage, and come and be live and talk to these folks and talk about Love is Blind. And so here I am. All right. Girl, I'm an OG watcher, but YT hasn't been notifying me. Okay, well, I'm so glad you got the notification. Hello. Hi. Mwah. like like red beans and rice, sis. We go together. Chrissy Sunshine. Hi. How are you? Oh, I love this picture. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. So consequently, that means that my washer is just washing. So we're gonna have to let that finish its load or whatever. I feel like I got beady beads. Okay, we're not gonna talk about the things that upset me. We're only gonna talk about the show. So I'm gonna give people some time to come in because this is a sneak attack. God, the washer is washing right now. It is loud. Can you hear it? Let me know. I'm putting myself on mute. Okay, well, that being said, I'm going to take my camera off. I'm going to run to the mailroom. In the mailroom right now is my electrolytes. And since I've had a margarita beverage, I'm going to need a little bit of an electrolyte. So you guys just come into the room, talk amongst each other. I'm going to run around the corner and I'm going to just go real quick and get my electrolytes and I'll be back, make myself an electrolyte water beverage, and then be sipping while getting some hydration. Okay? BRB. Back. That's how close my mailroom is. Okay. A little electrolyte. Oh my God, hard to know. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you. I appreciate it. Stay hydrated indeed. Girl. Okay, we're going to get started in just a little bit. Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of Love is Blind Season 9, Episodes 7 through 9. My name is Wah, and I do recaps of relationship reality TV show such as Love is Blind, 90 Day Fiancé, Seeking Sister Wife, and other shows like that. So if you are at all interested in that content, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Now, with that, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with any of your friends. If at all while watching this, you get the hee hee ha ha's and you want to give your girl a tip, you can do so by any of the methods below or a super sticker, as my good friend, Hard to Know, did. A super sticker. There it is. You could do that if you want to. Much is appreciated at all times. Okay, let's jump right into this episode. Girl, I watched this and I was like, thank God it's only 3 episodes. That initial 6 is just too much. It's too much. It is too much. So those of you that are in the chat, the 19 people that are in the room, thank you so much for showing up. I know this was an impromptu, just like, type situation, getting my notes up. And for those of you guys who are watching Replay Gang, you'll be able to see down below where I mark what time we get started. I'm sorry if you hear my washer. I'm told you can't hear it, but like, I hear it so loud that I can't deny that it is happening. But she got to clean her clothes because she's a clean lady. Okay, so the first episode we're going to talk about is episode 7, and that is Unknown Factors. So in this episode, we're hot off the heels of What's Her Face crying. And she cries a lot, that What's Her Face. Madison is crying in the room because What's His Face, Joe, is drunk. Now, I be on the TikTok, and the TikTok has a therapist who talks about the issues that these couples are going through and how some of it is gaslighting or inappropriate behavior. And I know that we all have our opinions, and a lot of times my opinions are wrong, specifically about KB and Edwin, but we'll get there when we get there. When I talked about like the fact that she doesn't want to have sex with him and then he's so upset about it. Now, I'm not saying that she should have sex with him. I'm just more so like, let's just keep certain information to ourselves. But if we don't, people should act accordingly. And he didn't act accordingly. So with that being said, the therapist on TikTok says that Joe's behavior in the room after Madison gets there is inappropriate because he wasn't there for her. And that based on the fact that she has this, eye condition, that probably her being there by herself after he leaves and then her finding her way back to the hotel room and even navigating inside of the hotel room may have been slightly daunting. And for his reaction to be what it was and him low-key gaslighting her is probably not the best thing. Now, the therapist says that. I still don't feel this way. I still don't feel this way. And then that makes me feel like, oh, I'm bad. I'm a bad person. It's just because, like, I also think that Madison, and I know she's young, needs to take some kind of ownership for where she is high and who she is and what she's doing. And instead of her being more emotionally intelligent and just either crying somewhere privately by herself because she's drunk and she can't stop the tears, or confronting him in that moment. And she tried to, but he's unable to hear her because he himself is sleepy and probably drunk and high. The streets are saying that him and Jordan probably did some sugar booger. Now, I don't know nothing about no sugar booger. I don't know how it makes people behave, and I don't know how it makes people behave with alcohol. But we can all admit that Joe was pretty drunk. And so for her to expect to have a coherent conversation with him, to me, is silly. Now, my sister says that she was probably drunk too. And so for her to want to have a coherent conversation with him probably wasn't the best time. But they're both doing it and both drunk. Not doing it, but like both drunk and both, in their perspective corners. I guess I'm still of the opinion, like, even though you said that you wanted to marry this person, you are still who you are. There is not a flip that switches and all of a sudden you become a fiance or you become someone who's supposed to be so doting and like understanding of the other person's feelings. They said they were ready for love, but at this moment right now, they are two individuals trying to make it work in a resort and they're circling each other. So however this goes down, she says that she's embarrassed, that her, and I feel like I wrote her childish behavior didn't work, which is her crying in the corner or outside. Him being like, "What are you doing? I hear you crying." And she's like, "I'm crying." And he's like, "Well, why?" And she's like, "Because I'm crying because of you." And he's like, "Well, what do I do?" She's like, "I don't know. Maybe we should come over here and like console me." And he's like, "No, bro, I'm going to sleep." I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. So, I mean, that's just how I feel, but I guess I'm in a different place and a different time and I'm a different person. Wow, 50 people in the room? If y'all don't give this video a thumbs up, I don't know what to say. Gonna give this video a thumbs up. So she's like, "Me." And then she comes out of the bathroom, she gets dressed, and I'm sorry, was anybody else like, "Did you shower?" I hope she showered. They can't be just two musty, crusty people in the bed. One has to be clean, no? So she gets showered or she whatever, goes into the bathroom, comes out, has her glasses on, looks different, gets in the bed. And he's like, "I don't understand what's going on." And she's like, What's going on is that I was trying to be a good girlfriend and you wouldn't let me be a good girlfriend." This is what my opinion. This is what I'm feeling right now. And he's like, What are you talking about? Is there food?" And she's like, "It's so embarrassing that you just left me and you got so drunk. Like I'm so embarrassed." She's like, "I've done nothing but come in and care." So then she goes to the other space and cries. And then she decides that she's going to sleep in a different space. Now, he then tells a story later on that he went and had to sleep somewhere else too. So there must have been some action that happened after the cameras were over or were done filming and where they swapped situations. So then we move on to Anton and Allie. Do you guys need the pictures of them? I mean, y'all know what they look like, right? Oh, I don't have a picture of them together. We're not going to do that. You know what they look like. You've been watching this enough. So then we move on to Anton and Allie, and they share wine and talk about makeup stories. And she's like, "I want to put makeup on you." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "I've never put nail polish on. I've never put mascara on. But if my daughter, I guess my wife, wanted me to do so, I would do so." And so they laugh. She tells him that, sorry. Then we move on to Jordan and Meg. So Meg is like, "Today was a lot." She's drunk. She's like, "Today was a lot." And they were like, hanging out with Nick was way too much, and they both laugh about it, right? It's at this point we realize now that people are making fun of Nick. They don't necessarily like him. So she tells him that she felt no connection with him and with her and Jordan while they were at the party. That she wants more of a power couple type situation, and that she didn't feel like they were being powerful. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think that Joe and Madison were the power couple? Like who else was the power couple there? What's going on?" And she starts to laugh because there's like, okay, well, maybe that wasn't the right turn of phrase. And they have an adult conversation about the way she felt about Jordan's behavior in a way that Joe and Madison did not have. And that is like important, for at least for me. It's important for me that we see an example of what having like a decent conversation and a more not a decent conversation, but we see an example of what being in like somewhat emotionally okay conversation after a drunken night is. And they give us that. So then we move on to Edmund and KB, and Edmund apologizes for being extra that night. And she's like, "We're both craving sex," and he's the one who had the meltdown about it, but they're both grateful that they've gotten through it and they've worked through, and we really see like KB doing a lot of the hard work to kind of get over the expectations. I will say that again, her expectation of him fighting a big dude in the club for touching her is ridiculous, but it is what it is. That's what she wants. I guess that's what she thinks she needs. And so until we move on further into the episodes, I'll keep my opinion about it to myself. So then we move on to Annie and Nick. They're both like, "Yeah, we're super great. We check all the boxes for my family." And she talks about how her father would want her to have a manly man. And she talks about how she's so excited to get back to Denver because in Denver they can walk to get breakfast, they can walk here, they can walk there. And he's like, well, in Dillon we can walk places. I mean, the walk is less concrete, it's more snow or whatever. But he's like trying to make it seem like Dillon is more interesting. And when we see Dillon finally, we're like, you would drive to the store, you're not gonna walk. It's nice, but it's not necessarily walking. You could walk, but that doesn't mean you want to walk. And so they end up getting into an argument later on, which I don't understand, but when we get there, we'll get there. So Madison, she says that when she woke up the next morning, she was actually missing Joe and she wanted to work it out. And she's like, I'm so sorry if I didn't give you what you needed. And they, apologize to each other and they end up being fine. The next scene we see them together is Madison and the girls talk about the night before. Madison tells Allie that she's non-confrontational. And Allie's like, I don't know that I'm non-confrontational. Like, if there's something to confront, I will confront it. But I don't know. Anton and I are pretty great. And Madison makes it seem as though if they didn't have a fight that night, then like, are you guys really a couple if you haven't had a fight? Everyone's like, I'm so grateful we had a fight because then it shows us like how much we love each other or how much we're going to grow as a couple. And it's weird because I don't necessarily believe that that is true. Then we move on to the guys. So the guys are now talking in their own little group. And they're talking about some of the issues that they had the prior night for sure. Joe talks about how he got into an argument with Madison. And Jordan brings up the fact that he got into an argument with Megan. Or rather, they didn't get into an argument. Megan said, "You're annoying me," to him. And that upset him. And he's like, could you have said that a little nicer or like less bitchy? I mean, he didn't say that. That's what I was feeling from him. So to me, I was like, oh, this is a little bit of the crack in the facade. It feels like he was a little annoyed at the fact that Megan said what she said. And I was like, well, you were annoying. I don't know why you need her to say it to you in a more gentle manner. It's weird. So the guys all think that Nick and Annie are happy because Nick, of course, tells them that they got along really well and everything is great. He's like, Jordan jokes again about how Meg was abrasive to him. And he says that he's not clingy. He's like, I'm not really a clingy person. So it's weird that I hope that she doesn't want me to be clingy. And, she's selling her home in LA. This whole time, Meg has a house in LA and she's selling it so that she can come back to Denver and buy property in Denver. Okay. Fine. If that's what you want to do. So then they talk about how the wedding is in 3 weeks. And everyone's like, oh my God, it's in 3 weeks. And they're all like, yeah. And then it's like, Jochi's anxiety comes on. It's my anxiety that is killing me. In my anxiety. Na, 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 na. Yeah, that song comes on. And I said, I hope that Doechii gets a bag. Doechii gets a bag. Doechii gets a bag. How much money do y'all think that Doechii said, oh, okay, or the record label, yeah, you can play the song for $30 million? If anyone wants to Google it and tell me how much it is, but like, she has her song, not only is it all over TikTok, but now it is on a heavily watched Netflix program. I said, go on ahead and make that coin, Doechii. Go on ahead and make that coin. I'm here for it. So some couples are in a great place and some couples are still figuring it out. So then we move on to Nick and Annie, and this is where they get into an argument. They're packing. And he says something that upsets her. I don't know what it is. I watched it twice and I did not get what got her upset. And she's like, listen, I just want you to know that I don't need you. I want you. So whatever it is that you're feeling over there, you can just have your feelings. Have them. They're valid. But I don't need you. I want you. And in this moment, she's trying to impart to him that want is a better position than need. And I don't think so. Here's the truth. I think that to want someone is a better position than needing. But I think when you're on the other side of it, you are somebody who wants to be wanted. I think that when someone's like, I don't need you, it makes you feel like you're unwanted or that you're easily disposable. So I feel like when you feel that, you need to keep that to yourself. Like you can't say that to somebody. Like it is just very it's very interesting how she kind of goes in on him with that. And he's like, okay, I think we're getting derailed. Let's get back on track. I don't understand why you're saying that to me. And she's like, I'm just saying, for what you said, it sounds like you're still figuring things out. Or I mean, the truth is, honestly, you guys, I don't know. I don't know why she was upset. She says, I want you to be a part of my life, not a need. She says that she feels like she cares more. And I'm like, so if you feel like you care more, why did you tell that man that you don't need him? Like, just to like bring home the point of like, oh, okay, I'm kind of vulnerable, but I'm not vulnerable. I'm kind of vulnerable, but I'm not really vulnerable. Because the truth is that I don't need you. So it was a weird conversation. I didn't understand it. And yeah. So then after that, everybody has a shot of them talking to their families, which is the first time they've done this in Love is Blind, where they're in the airport and they're like, "Hi. Oh my gosh. Hi, this is the person. Oh, we're cute, huh? Yeah. Oh my god. Hi, mom. This is the person. Yeah, I'm so happy. Oh, hi, Luca. Luca, Adam, Megan, Luca, Adam, Megan. I mean, if I don't hear the name Luca, it'll be too soon. The way that they talk about this unnamed 5-year-old boy. I mean, this unseen 5-year-old boy. I am over it. No more Luca talk for me, personally. Get him an app and name it Luca Talk. That's how much they talk about this person. Especially a person that we don't necessarily want to see, because I don't want to see Luca. I want him to have his anonymity for the rest of his life. Okay. So, where are we at? Anton and Allie like to people watch, and Jordan keeps saying that he is humble and he has a simple space. Jordan wants to reiterate that his life is very humble. Now, we don't see where Meg is staying because she's not staying at her home. She's staying at a friend's house while she sells her home. And he's like, yeah, I'm just a humble guy. I'm just like a normal guy. I'm just like a regular guy. And we're like, we get it. We get it. Oh my God. I didn't realize how much my washer and dryer anxiety was happening until right now when it stopped. It's so quiet in here now. Gabrielle, hi. Okay, so we get to their homes when we see everybody is like, oh my god, the houses are so great, the apartment is so great, and it does look like a great apartment, and it looks like a pretty high sky rise, and I was happy for them. So we get to KB and Edmund. And Edmund is in a space that I guess is so nice for him that he feels like he needs to fit himself in the cabinet because it was so big. It was such a big cabinet that he needs to put his whole skinny little body into the cabinet. And so we have KB who just has to be like, okay. I mean, it makes me think that like Edmund, we can't take you anywhere. You're gonna act up in a moment's at as in a second. If something is new to you, you are going to act up. And as your partner, I'm embarrassed for the both of us. Embarrassed. um, so then we have a conversation again with Jordan and Meg, and Meg gets upset because she's like, meeting Skylar and Luca is gonna be a big deal. And you keep saying it's gonna be fine, I promise. And he says, I promise, I swear, I'm not lying so many times in a row. And I'm like, that doesn't make me feel any better because the truth is that I don't trust people. I don't like sometimes people are like, "Oh, everything's going to be fine." And that is just them speaking wishful intentions into the world because that's just who they are. There are people in this world who will never just say the obvious and honest thing up front. They're going to say the wishful thought. It's like Gino from 90 Day Fiance. I mean, that's the only Gino we all know, right? It's where he just like says things. There's like, it's gonna be fine. Like, yeah, Natalie, you can come to my family's thing. My ex-wife is gonna be there. It's gonna be fine. And it's like, well, based on the evidence and based on the pattern of behavior, is it gonna be fine, Gino? Based on what we know about Jasmine, is it gonna be fine to bring Natalie to a family event? No, it's not. But Gino still tells Natalie that it's gonna be fine. So then we get Jordan, and Jordan keeps telling Meg that it's gonna be fine. Skylar's gonna be fine, even though, like, he's like, me and Skylar were never meant to be together. Yeah, she's not terrible, but like, even though there's like things that he said about Skylar that makes me believe that they're not besties, and they don't have to be besties, but like, he ends up saying later on, and I don't know if he says it in this episode, he's like, she didn't ask me before introducing Luca to her husband or her new boyfriend. So, like, why am I going to ask her? And I was like, Mayday, 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 Mayday. Like, sometimes people do not have a realistic understanding of how the person or someone else is going to behave. And they just like wishful thinking that this person's going to behave okay. And I'm like, girl, no. And so him just saying, I promise, I swear it'll be right, I'm not lying, is not enough for me. And she's crying because she's worried about it. And then he tells her, you know what? Here's the truth. Like, don't buy Luca anything. Don't buy him anything. And she's like, well, gifts are my love language. Like, I like buying things. And he's like, no, I want Luca to know that he has to work for everything in his life. So at 5, don't buy him anything. So it feels a little bit like Jordan is resentful for Megan's success and then doesn't want Megan's success to like wash over his son in case it doesn't work out with him and Megan. And so they can go back to their simple, humble, like way of life. I'm telling you right now, if I had a child and somebody wanted to shower my child with gifts, go ahead and do it. I can't do it. Do it. Give them everything. And then I'll make sure that they tell you thank you over and over again. But it's very weird to be like, I don't want you to buy him things because I don't want him to think that money grows on trees. Like, I want him to know that, like, you have to work hard for what you have, as though Megan didn't work hard for what she has, as though Megan has, like, wasn't ever, like, kind of living paycheck to paycheck, like she said. Now, the way Megan was like, when I was living paycheck to paycheck, as though like the majority of the world doesn't live paycheck to paycheck. Here I am living paycheck to paycheck, like deep paycheck to paycheck. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you got out of it, girl. Those of us are waiting to get out of it. You know what I mean? I've had moments in my life where I've not had to live paycheck to paycheck, but then those are few and far between. I have made poor choices in them few and far betweens. Like, what? Anyways, but I just was mad I was a little annoyed with Jordan for trying to tell Megan that she couldn't shower Luca with gifts. Why not? The fuck not? It's not like he's gonna remember this and be like, oh yeah, remember that one time you had that girlfriend slash wife, dad, and she bought me all this stuff. And now forever I think money grows on trees. If you don't let that boy have $200 Legos, girl, if she can afford it, let her do it. I need him to understand that life isn't going to be given to him. Shut up. Like Meg is just like, I really want to meet Luca. I don't want to meet him after we get married. I want to meet him before. And so he's like, okay, we'll make it happen. Like, even if it needs to happen off camera. And I'm like, duh. Do these people not realize? I want to know what the conversation is with the producers once they get hired. I know they have to go through a lot to get on the show, right? And I wonder what the conversation is with the producers to where they think that they're beholden to have any and every conversation on camera. I tell you right now, if I ever am on a reality show, which I would not be because I don't want my family to be blown up and I don't want death threats, I would endeavor to have conversations off camera and then plan with the producers what conversations would be on camera. I already know the edit is going to be the edit, but at least everything that I say on a hot mic will be things that I know can be misconstrued and changed around at any moment. You're not going to catch me unawares. You're not going to catch me unawares. So, anyways, that's the end of episode 7. We're going to go ahead and take a little breaksy here and look and see what the people are saying. So, Hard to Know says, since when are arguments a sign of a healthy relationship? Like, I mean, sometimes you do have to disagree, but to have full-on disagreements the way Joe and Madison had is like wild. Gabriella says she's trying to convince herself. Absolutely. Moy says the way I just hollered at how you said embarrassed, like the aunties when I go home and acting too American. No, are you not embarrassed? I'm always embarrassed. Edmund, the realtor, hasn't seen a cabinet pantry that large. Is he acting? Says I'm awake. Also, I'm awake. Hey girl, it's been a minute. How you doing? Gabrielle says, oh my God, hi. I meant Annie was trying to convince herself that she didn't need Joe. You mean Madison? Oh, that she didn't need Nick. Is that name Nick or Luke? One of those two. But it came up way too late. Moving on. No worries. So like, yeah, it was an interesting episode. That's what I'll say about that. We'll get started with that with the next episode at 38. I mean, can you guys not hear the difference? I feel like my jaw tension is just gone because there's no washer and dryer going right now. All right, so now we're going on to episode 8. This is called Stripping the Veil. So with this, we pick up, I think, with Meg and Sparkles. Let me see. I said things I didn't say. It can't happen again. Oh, this is actually Annie and Nick. So Annie and Nick are still fighting. And she makes comment that he said something and he's like, oh, I actually never said that. And she's like, well, that's what, it's what's funny is that I guess I've had enough like theater training as well as therapy, which sometimes it overlaps in a weird way, where I know not to just like, I mean, sometimes it still happens, but if I'm trying to be intentional with somebody, I will say, this is what your words made me feel. I won't say you just basically said that I was ugly. No, I'm going to say, when you said that, it made me feel ugly, or it made me feel like you thought I was ugly. And so it's really being intentional with what you say. And so whatever he said triggered her and then made her go into a tirade of like, I really don't need you, but I want you. And so like, that's what's more important. And he's like, well, I never said what it is. And he's like, actually, you need to be careful now because that can't happen again. No more just like saying that I said something or taking whatever it is that I said and putting negative intentions on it. Like, no more doing that. And I thought that was a good boundary to put up. So then we move on to the so they decide they're gonna be okay and he's gonna go back to packing and whatever, right? Then we move on to Madison and Joe, and this was another very confusing argument for me. I again watched this twice. So Madison says that she's never introduced anybody to her family. And I'm gonna be honest with you, neither have I. And sometimes when I say that to guys, they're like, "Oh, well, why not?" And I'm like, "Because I just don't bring anybody home, and I haven't had anybody that's worthy of me defending if they say something crazy." Like, no one I have been dating is somebody that, like, is worthy of meeting my dad. Like, that's serious. Like, nobody's been serious. And he's like, "Well, isn't that a problem?" And I'm like, "Why? Why do people think?" There's also this other conversation where people feel like if you haven't been in a relationship or if you go more than 3 years without being in a relationship, that something is wrong with you. And I think to myself, "Well, is there not something wrong with you to where you feel like people need to be in relationships in order to, like, I don't know, be worthy or be okay or be whatever?" Like, aren't we past that? I had a coworker say that once, not knowing that I had never been in a relationship, and I was just like, "No, I don't believe something is wrong with me because of that." Like, I don't necessarily know that every human being is meant for that. Now, do I want that? Yes, but, like, to put that a make that a blanket statement as though, like, every human has to have been in a relationship in order to be seen as, like, okay or worthy or something is weird to me. Just because you need to be in a relationship doesn't mean that I do. Okay. So Joe feels like she's just a little too sure about this relationship or this experience because he's having feelings as is normal. And he's like, "Does it not scare you?" And so she says, "You're scaring me now." And he's like, "You don't have any reservations or worry?" And she's like, "Of course I do, Joe." And I was like, "Okay." When you start adding people's names at the end of sentences, it's a little too much in my opinion. And he's like, "You don't seem worried at all." And she's like, "Do you want me to be worried?" And this is an entirely toxic conversation, you guys. This whole conversation is so entirely, like, toxic that I was just, like, uncomfortable, and then I had to watch it again because I was like, "Do I not understand what's going on?" And the second time I wrote down verbatim what they said. And so she's she do you he's like, "You don't seem worried at all." And she's like, "Do you want me to be worried?" And I'm like, "Bitch, if you don't stop asking this man questions based on what he just said, it's weird." And he's like, "A bit, like, be more human, like, we're together in this." And she's like, I'm too sure about you." And he's like, "But you're so sure." And she's like, "Well, when I signed up for this, I knew what I was doing." And he's like, "It's fucking hard though." And she's like, "You're making this more negative than what it is." And I just wrote down, she turns everything against him. And then she says, "I'm sorry I'm too interested in you. I'm sorry I'm not a negative bitch. Is it bothering you that I'm excited about you?" Joe, just go on ahead and leave this girl. Just go on ahead and leave. I know everybody thinks that he's the villain, and I do think there's a certain part of him that is a villain, but they're both villains. And to me, they're both villains. Like, it is wild. She's like, "I've said numerous times that this is crazy." And he's like, "Yeah, you said this is crazy, but you haven't said this is crazy. I'm a little overwhelmed. Like, we don't really know each other and we're living together. This is very fast. Like, this is." And she's like, "I knew what I signed up for, so that's why I'm not saying those things, because when I think those things, I think, duh, this is what I signed up for." But I'm like, "That's you, Madison, because you watch this show with an intent and an intention of somebody who would love to be on the show and would love to get married." I feel like I don't understand why the guys get on this show. Like, sometimes I don't understand why the guys choose this show when historically it feels like the guys are always the ones that are so scared, which is not true. Women are scared too. But it feels as though like there is a contingent of men who join this show who fully have girlfriends. Like it feels to me, based on the evidence and the facts gathered, that the majority of the men who join this show just join for something to do, and none of them expect to get married. The ones that are truly problematic are the ones who already have girlfriends or have some kind of ulterior motive or just did it for fun and never expected it to work. You know what I mean? So it's like weird. Is Joe one of those people? And maybe. So that's why when you go on this show as a woman who really wants to be married, you have to recognize that not all the men really want to be married. Some of them are just coming on here for fucking funsies. Yeah. Hi, Calandria. How are you? Calandria, how are you? Some of them are. So that's who you got, girl. To me, honestly, the moment he was like, I normally don't date big girls, I would have been out. She's what? A size 10? She's the same size as me. I'm probably bigger than her. Because the camera really do be putting on 10 pounds. If you think that Megan is a normal size, when you see Megan in real life, she probably looks like her head is bigger than her entire body. That's how skinny she looks. And when you see Allie for the first time, Allie's probably like 5 foot. Like the camera does crazy ass things. And also the way we perceive people changes because I'm pretty sure that KB and Madison are the same size. They're just different races. And so we accept black women and women of color who are a little bit thicker, and we don't necessarily accept white women who are. We're conditioned that way. I wouldn't be surprised if Calabria is bigger. Sorry, Calandria. Calandria. I wouldn't be surprised if KB was bigger than Madison. But the way we perceive them on television is different. Absolutely not. Absolutely not hard to know. Anyways, this argument just really made me like cringe. Because she ends up taking off her ring, putting it down, and walking away. And I'm like, girl, this is too much. She's like, it's bothering you that I'm excited about you? And he's like, I want to be able to talk to you about my fears and my feelings, but I can't do it when you behave like this. You know, and she's like, and I'm just like, no, this is not okay. So then we move on to Jordan and Meg. And Jordan walks in. He's like, welcome to my humble abode. And it's a 1-bedroom. And he sleeps in the living room. And they go to the bedroom. And the bedroom is mainly Luca's bedroom. And I thought to myself, well, okay, that makes sense, right? Like maybe you do put your child in the bedroom because as a parent, that is feeling as though you're giving them a place of honor and that you don't want to be in a space where you're closed off from them. And so they have like their walk-in closet that they share. And at first Meg is like, I don't understand it. You have a 1-bedroom apartment. How does Luca have his own room? And he's like, oh, you'll see it when you get there. You'll see it when you get there. And so at first when you walk in, I think, oh, he lives in a studio. Where's Luca sleep? And then we see that Luca has a full bedroom to himself. Even though Luca lives there like 50% of the time, he has the full bedroom. Which, listen, I know people who do that, so it's not a big deal. And so he's just like, yeah, and all this stuff. And then he says something that I think just as a person who doesn't have kids, I will never understand. But he's not the only parent I've ever heard say this. And I want to know where this comes from. He's like, I look up to him a lot. I'm sorry, you look up to your 5-year-old child? Let's unpack this. Let's unpack that. That's not the first parent I've ever heard say that. Like where they're like, "Oh my god, my life wouldn't have been anything without my child." And I'm like, "My life was utterless without my child." And like it gave me purpose, and or like I really think my kid is so awesome. I look up to them. And I think to myself, you look up to them, or you just are really happy at the human that they're turning out to be. And also that has something to do with you. If you have such a kind, sweet, generous kid, it's because of you and their other parent. Because, children are like, yeah, they have like natural things that are just running through their body, but they also have nurture things. And for you to say that you look up to your 5-year-old child a lot is a weird statement, and I need you to like explain that to me. And is it because you think, "Oh, they're so kind and nice?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because they're new to this world." Like, maybe you're not as kind as nice, or as nice as your child, because you've lived in this world and you see how shitty people are. What do you mean you look up to your child? Like, I just have question I just wanna know more about what that means. These are weird statements. I never like, I wanna know that I want people to know that they are a part of their children's rearing and upbringing. I mean, yeah, if you're a shitty person and innately your child's not a shitty person, then okay, I can see that. There are some, like, I think nature things, but there's also nurture things. So it's just like really weird that he says it on TV. And then we go back to like the type 1 diabetes. And I just feel like I know so many people who have type 1 diabetes that to me, it's not this like harrowing thing. But it's because I guess I've never truly asked them about their life experience and like what it means to them. And I think it must be shitty to see like a 5-year-old with that. I mean, I know people who have type 1 diabetes who like got it in high school or got it like right after high school or something like that. So they were a little bit more adult. But I think Luca has had it since he was a kid, and that must have been super fucking scary. And it must be hard to see him like linked up to getting insulin and like taking shots and things like that. I'm not trying to downplay what that is, but I just think it's so interesting the way they talk about it. It's almost like it's like, is it type 1 diabetes like month? Like what is it that we're just talking about it so much as, you know? So anyways, there's that. I look up to him a lot. Like be a parent, weirdo. Okay, so let me move on to Anton and Allie, and they chat about work, and they make breakfast because they both work overnight, so they get home at the same time. And he makes steak and eggs, and I was like, "What a hearty breakfast dinner!" You know what I mean? I've never had steak and eggs. It's never been something that I'm like, I'm gonna order that. Now I have had eggs and bacon, which feels like the same thing. Maybe not, but I've never had steak and eggs. So he makes that, and she tells him that he needs to wash his fruit or else he's gonna get like bugs in his belly. And he tells her that she's grumpy Allie. And then I look at her and she's got these like almond nails, and I was like, "What kind of nurse are you?" Because nurse nails are a thing, right? Nurses are not supposed to have long nails at all. They have to have nurse nails, which are like short. I mean, they can have polish on them and stuff, but they cannot have like nails. And so I'm like, what kind of she's a travel nurse, I believe, but like what kind? Botox? She gives me like Botox nurse. Like what kind of nurse? Are you are you taking blood and are you puncturing veins with them nails? Like not this new generation of nails, girl. Like a new generation of nurse. Yeah, it's like I'm like they made nurse nails. What kind of nurse are you? And so anyways, they start to talk about, how she'll be in school full time, and she wants to just let him know like, yeah, last time I was in school I was with my family and my mom took care of everything. So like I'm not going to be Mrs. Clean. Like that's going to be the last thing on my mind. And I'm going to be trying to study and go to work and do all these things. And he's like, And I'm like, boy, if you don't be like, don't worry, I got it, I can clean. It's very interesting and weird to me when there are men who really don't feel like housework is their job. Housework is everyone's job. If you don't wanna do it, then you hire someone. If you don't wanna clean and you want your house to be clean, then you hire somebody. That is what you do. Don't be like, that's weird that you don't wanna that you're gonna neglect the housework." No. And he's like, she asks him, "Can you support both of us?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I can. I can." And then she's like, "I think that we should have separate accounts." And he's like, "I don't understand the purpose of separate accounts." And she's like, "Well, maybe I don't want you to see how much how much Botox costs." And I'm like, "You don't see the need for separate accounts?" That's interesting. I think that you should have separate accounts. I think it at the end of the like, I think I would be really annoyed if I mean, here's the reason why. Because with separate accounts, then anything you buy that doesn't have to do with the household stuff, you can manage that, right? If you have one account and you wanna go buy clothes, you wanna go hang out with your boys, you want to just do personal things, you know what I mean? Like, you can do that and you don't have to, like, mentally budget it. If you have one account, then that means every time you check that account, you don't necessarily know what someone else is taking out of the account. Does that make sense? I just think it makes more sense to have an account that manages household stuff, like utilities, car payments, insurance, home, like rent, things that you guys are gonna be paying together. But then you have your separate accounts, so your fun money can be you can see that and you only know that you're the only person swiping with that fun money card. So you can mentally manage the money. So it was weird that he said that because I was like, especially for somebody, as we find out later on, who likes to go to the strip clubs, that he would want to have a joint account, and it feels like he would wanna have a separate account so that he could keep his stripper money out of the main account, right? So, anyways, let's see. He wants to get, like, matching sweaters, like Mr. and Mrs. Sweater, and she's like, "No, I don't like that." And I was like, "You're boring. Boo, Allie. Boo." So then we move on to KB and Edmund is making pancakes for his mother, and his mother's coming over, and he seems pretty nervous. Now, he done told the entire world this woman could not keep her kids out of foster care. And I don't know if he realizes and is kinda nervous or he's just nervous because he wants his mother to like KB, all that stuff. So his mother's name is Carrie, she comes in, and, she all of a sudden, it feels as though this woman is trying to make up for the years that her children were in and out of foster care. Now, the way he says it is that he in his youth, he was in foster care. So, in my mind, he was in foster care from age, like, 5 to 18. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the way it sits in my brain, that his parents could just never get it together. So, of course, this woman walks in and she's got a lot of opinions and a lot of things to say. And I just keep thinking, but you couldn't keep your kids in foster care. And it's terrible because I don't know what it is to be an addict. I don't know that disease. And so sometimes I think when people come out of it, they want to make up for lost time and they over mother. And it feels like in this moment, Carrie is over mothering. It feels like she has completely forgotten the fact that she has damaged her children by not being able to get her shit together while they were in their formative years. And we can tell that Edmund's got a lot going on. And she comes in and she's like, "Oh, you gotta go to Ghana." I'm like, "Where the fuck you get Ghana money? Who gave you? What do you do that you have Ghana money?" "Oh, you would love Ghana, and I give all of my daughter-in-laws like waist beads." How many daughter-in-laws do you have? All of your sons are married? Married? Or all of them just got baby mamas? I need more information. And then she says something weird like where, "Oh yeah, KB, I wasn't sure about you at first, but now, I feel like things are good. I just don't let anybody in to take my sons because I'm very protective of." Well, where was your protection 10 years ago? Huh? Where was the protection then? Well, and how long have you been going to Ghana? Where you get this Ghana money? And then she's like, my other daughter-in-laws, they tell my sons things, and like they be telling on me. Telling them what? For whatever reason, not for whatever reason, because of the past, no one is on Carrie's side when she walks into the room. And then she walks into the room in a way that is like, "Oh no, girl, we know you're dirty. We know the dirtiest of your laundry." You could tell me, Carrie could tell me that she was hooking on the side, that she gave, $20 blowjobs, that she was doing all kinds of shenanigans. But the worst offense is not being able to keep her children's out of foster care. And so, unfortunately, everything that she says, I'm like, huh, huh. Like, unfortunately. And so the aura of like, oh, they running back and tell, and we checked out your Instagram and we were like, nah, that's not for Edmund. I'm sorry. Now you know what's for Edmund? When your four boys were in foster care because you and your husband or whoever. I had ungenerous thoughts about this woman. And for her to come in and try to talk to KB and stand on some kind of high horse, I was like, no, you don't get to mother now. What you can do is pay for your son to go to therapy because he needs it. He needs it. So, anyways, that was weird. We move on to Joe and Madison, and Joe takes her to his apartment, and all of a sudden Madison is a different person who's really trying to get married, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, yeah, I want us to be together. It's so good. And he apologizes to her again for his behavior, and she like accepts that, and I'm just like, boo. So then we move on to Jordan and Meg, and they have the 4th anniversary of her dad's passing, and they go to dinner or lunch with the mother and sister, and they're lovely. Everyone's dressed up. She's wearing some kind of bat-winged outfit, short dress, and they're all dressed up and it's all fancy. And Jordan, I was waiting for him to remark on how fancy everything was. And I was like, Jordan, like this whole I'm a regular ass like Roseanne white guy is not working for me. I drive a 2013 Kia, so I'm basically like salt of the earth poor white. Like, Jordan, you're fine. You're fine, Jordan. You're middle class the way everybody else is. Jordan wants to act like he's so poor. Jordan, you're living in Denver. Denver is is an expensive city. It's not a cheap city. You're fine. So they're sitting there and basically they get the blessing. Sister talks about how she had a dream, and they're like, Megan, this is exactly who you needed. Uh poors can't afford Legos. Sorry. Yeah, he has Gucci shoes. Like, Jordan, you are fine. I want you to know I'm living such a humble life. Jordan, shut up. You're still white. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And everything's great. And so then he's like, "Oh, what is that?" And she's like, "It's burrata." And he's like, "Oh, it's such fancy food. I don't know what burrata is." I'm like, they sell burrata everywhere. Burrata is like tomato and basil and bread. If you don't get off my screen talking about, I don't know what burrata is. If the place has wings and like some kind of spinach artichoke dip, it has burrata. If it's got hummus, burrata is on the menu too. It's basil and tomatoes with crusty bread. If you get fancy, maybe they give you some mozzarella. Anyways, and also Megan's mother and sister have their purses on the floor. That's the startling thing for me. Since they're so fancy. You put your purse on the floor? Ma'am, get yourself a bag hook. Hang your purse on your chair. On the floor? Oh, did I get it mixed up? Burrata? Oh, let me look that up. What's the difference? Burrata. It's the same thing. Oh, it's the one with cheese. Okay, it's the mozzarella. Yeah, you're right. It's basically one has mozzarella, one doesn't. So burrata is fresh Italian cheese made from cow's milk and solid mozzarella shell with a rich creamy center of some other kind of cheese. Yeah, and then burrata is the other thing without cheese. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I am. I'm thinking of this. But is it not basically the same thing? Either way it goes, I've had both and they're fine. It's not fancy. It's not fancy. I refuse to believe it. Okay, they both have a little balsamic vinegar, a little balsam vin, a little balsamic vinegar. They have tomatoes. Like, it's fine. The way that this man is asking is like, what's that? I've never seen cheese before. Girl, if you don't get out of my face. Okay. So then we have oh, you're right. I was wrong. Okay. So then we move on to Nick and in his house in Dillon, and we realize that Nick, honestly, she should just move to Dillon because Nick's house is pretty cute. I mean, it's ideal for me. I love a cabin. I love snow. He has this little like game space. He has all of the athletic stuff like skis, snowboard, sailboat, like fancy little two-seater car. He has this little like racing car simulation that he created. I was like, it looks cute. Both are readily available at your standard restaurant like Earl's. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I know they're not the same, but like definitely not fancy. No, I know. Okay, great. But his house is nice. His house is nice. And I was like, girl, go ahead and live there. That's cute. And I really liked his thing. He's like, and this is where it was like, damn, and listen, there's nothing wrong with him knowing these words, but it's also weird that to say I'm a size queen. I love a big sale. It's weird that to say that when you are so Christian and you don't want your children to be gay. And if they are gay, you want them to know what they're getting into. Annie is a whole salon owner, which has so many folks of all forms of queer life. And for you to say that on national TV that you'd want them to know what they were getting themselves into, I already gone on a big tangent. I won't do it again. This man says I'm a size queen. Annie's hair is more than upsetting. It's like she looks like a Muppet. Because she has so much hair on her head. It's like 2 bundles too many, Okay. Um, I'm a size queen is wild. So then we have Madison and Joe. They meet Joe's family. I'm gonna tell you right now, I put it on mute. I did not give one F. These two should not be together. I don't want to see them meeting each other's family. Then we move on to Anton and Allie, and they hang out with Anton's friend. And Anton's friend's girlfriend has a lot to say. And I'm just like, damn, Chismosa. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now that I can't imagine a scenario in which I find out that my boyfriend's bestie is on a show, brings home a girl, and I go into the bathroom and then tell that girl how he likes to go to strip clubs. It just wouldn't be something that I would do. It feels like negative. It feels like something that why would she even tell that girl? Why would she tell her that? And she's like, "Oh my god, I don't know if I really am into that." And it scares Allie. She comes out of the bathroom and she's like, "You're in trouble." And he's like, "What?" And I'm just like, "Girl, hater? Hateration in the dancery or no?" It felt like hateration in the dancery. It felt like hateration in the dancery. It felt like hateration in the dancery. Like, there's just no reason to do that. I don't know. Maybe because I don't think strip clubs are bad. Like, if a man is single and he wants to throw a couple dollars for a holla, like, let it happen. Girl, give me that money. Go stage. Get that money. I love a strip club. Okay. Anyways, that's the end of episode 8. Let's take a break. Let's massage our temples because we have a lot of jaw tension because we're frustrated with these couples. We'll get started at 112. This next episode is called Ghosts of the Pod Past. 112. Settle. We're going to get through this quick. Here we go. All right. So now we've got episode 9. This is called Ghosts of the Pod's Past. We start off this where we find out that Jordan eats blended chicken with crystal light. That is so fucking disgusting. Anyways, they look at Holmes and he doesn't want her to have to step down because of him. And he just remains again that he's just a blue collar guy. And I was like, you are a transportation branch manager. I guess it's like blue collar adjacent. Like maybe it isn't quite white collar, but it's like not blue collar. If you were like working on the cars or working on the machinery, going ahead and put on that blue collar. But like right now you're like in between blue and white. So let's just say you're like a sky blue collar. You're like a periwinkle. You're like a periwinkle collar. Um and so they look at this house and he's actually really kind of nice about it. Like he's like, well, if the house is 2 million, she can get 1.5 million for the house in LA. And I was like, you were living in a small house in LA then for only 1.5. These houses in LA would be 2 million, 3 million, and they don't be nothing but 2-bedroom. So she's got the 1.5 from LA. She's gonna put it towards this house, and then that way they'd only have to finance 500,000. And he's like, I don't even know if I could do that. And I was like, bullsh, you could do the 500,000 unless you just have massive debt and like didn't pay it back. But otherwise, like if you had decent credit, you could do a 250. You could handle that. So like stop trying to say like whatever. So I did like the fact that he was like, I don't want her to like step down. I didn't want it to be a situation where he was like, I can't afford this, so like we can't live here, and so then we have a scene where Annie meets Nick's mom, and I didn't care to like watch this either because I was like, I don't care about these people, not at all. And we find out that Nick's mother is a hairdresser, and I thought Annie was a hairdresser too, but I guess it's just as a salon owner, which can be two different things. So you think they would have a lot in common because of that. But anyways, again, I took the sound off and went about my business. So then we move on to Anton and Allie, and it seems as though Allie still hasn't had the conversation with him, and she's kind of harboring feelings. Like right now, she's like, "Yeah, all we do is have like pizza and champagne." And she's uncomfortable. It's weird. They leave it off in a weird place where we know that she's not okay with them just having pizza and champagne when they get home from work. So then we have a group meet, and this is where like kind of all the shit goes down. So we have Kate that shows up, we have Patrick that shows up, Annie that shows up, or Anna that shows up, and like some other people, and Mike. And so, we have these scenes where Kate confronts Nick, and Annie tries to ignore Nick because Kate has told Allie some things about the things that Nick told Kate. And now Annie is like upset and doesn't want to talk to Nick because she feels like he's fake. Everyone feels that Nick is fake. I mean, Joe feels it so much to the point where they pull his ass aside and he actually tells camera that he doesn't really fuck with Nick, which is like, give us more details, but also, wow, And so that's kind of interesting. And then we've got Mike, who's trying to have a conversation with Meg about whether or not she made the right choice. And she's like, absolutely. And he's like, do you regret it? And she's like, not a bit. And he's like, do you want to kiss? And she's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, he's like trying to get her to admit. And she's like, absolutely not. He's like, you want to dance? And she's like, never. Um, and so we have Nick apologizing to Kate and Kate not letting him off the hook, but he likes to talk a big game. Like, he has a lot to say about a lot of different things and like honoring. He's like, I'm really sorry for the things that I did. I did something that was really shitty. However, this is how I felt. But again, it was really shitty. Like, he's very good at that like verbal aerobics where it's just like back and forth of like admitting he was wrong, but then like also like saying how he feels, but then also doubling down on how he was wrong and he's so sorry. And I'm like, girl, we see right through you, size queen. We see it. We see right through you, size queen. And so then Annie is like ridiculous because then she's like ignoring him when he comes up behind her. But then they also have a moment before she gets upset at him where he's like, I'm not perfect. And she's like, you are perfect. And then Edmund is like, oh my God, dang, that's so cool to hear that he just, she just thinks you're perfect. And when you said that you weren't. And then KB's like, wait, what? What happened? And Edmund tries to ignore. And she's like, wait, what is it that you are giving him or her props about? And I think it's a combination of Edmund making KB feel like she's not doing everything that she can and low-key gaslighting her into feeling like she's not good enough, but also Edmund being so deeply insecure that he wants accolades and like okay, so I was really thinking about this. I've been thinking about it for days because I'm like, his response to KB when she was like, well, why would you even say that right now? Like, he's like, what did you say to me today that was positive? And I was like, okay, Princess Sparkles, like I cannot come home every day and tell you something that's positive about what you did. Like, you're not my child. I cannot do that. So if that is something that you need, then like I cannot give you that. If you need constant reassurance, and either genders, either way, either genders, either sexuality, whatever, if you are someone who requires constant adoration, because that's what I see it as, and constant like reassurance that you're perfect and awesome and beautiful and handsome, I cannot give you that because on the day to day, I'm worried about like real shit that has nothing to do with the way you look. Like, I don't have it. Like, I'm here, I'm having sex with you. Well, in KB's case, it's not happening, but like, I'm here, I'm living in the same space as you, I'm talking to you after I get off of work. What else do you want from me? Like, every day, she's like, what am I not doing? Why would you bring this up now, making it seem like I'm not good? And so she got offended because, again, I think that she wants to save him. which I don't think she should have gotten offended by that. But then at the end, he's like, I just want to die, man. I want to die. Because she's mad, and he's like, I'm gonna walk away. And she's like, no, you brought it up. Let's talk about it. I think they're both wrong in the fact that they want to talk about it right now. And I think what she should have done is just like accepted the fact that he said the thing he said about the perfect thing and then talk to him about it off camera later on. I don't know that she needed to confront him in that moment and make him feel shitty or make him feel bad about the way he felt. But like, I think that bodes a conversation later on. So it's like both things to me. There's both shenanigans occurring. So then we've got Patrick and Anna, where he's like, it would have been you, it would have been you. And she's like, but it would not have been because you chose someone else, or it's not because you chose someone else. And I don't think that's fair. She left the experiment, and so he went with the next person who wanted him. And I think a lot of people do that, where they get with the person who wants them, as opposed to the person that they know that they need. And he knew that he needed to be with Anna, but Anna got upset and confused, and so she left. And so for her to be like, you keep making it seem like I was the one who left, and that's the reason why we didn't get together. But like, if you really wanted me, I think to me, what is she trying to say? If you really wanted me, then you would have just left the experiment and found me on the outside, and then we would be dating. Like, it was confusing to me that that's how she prefaced it, or like said it to him. And he's like, no, it would have been you. I swear to God, it would have been you. And she's like, but it wasn't. And he's like, but you left. And she's like, well, I guess you should have found me on the outside and married me. That's what it felt like to me. And we now know that Casey's not showing up to anything because obviously she knew that she would look bad. I'm going to sneeze. She knew that she would look bad on the show. So she's not she's not showing up for anything. So we're never going to hear from Casey ever again because she doesn't look like the racist who like wanted to bring home the Asian guy, but he wasn't cute enough to like be with her like United Emirates Benetton or whatever. United Nations Benetton. You know, because she was like, yeah, my brother is dating a Latina, and my dad loves Koreans, and my sister is like in Korea, and my like other one is dating a Brazilian. Like she was like talking about how all 8 of her siblings have, non-white partners, and she was just like, yeah, so I'm excited to bring home an Asian or whatever. So we also find out at this event that Allie is not comfortable with the fact that Anton comes home and has a drink, and everyone's like, he drinks at 8 a.m. And she's like, yeah, well, that's when he gets off. And everyone's like, excuse me. Oh, and she's like, that's not my lifestyle. And I'm like, I think that anyone should be able to have a drink at any time when they get home from work. No matter if it's 8 a.m. or whatever. Now, if he drinks for like the next 6 hours and then goes to sleep and does it again, that's a problem. But I think you're allowed to have a beverage. I mean, people are drinking like mimosas. I guess does that show me? Does that tell me how I am? Because I'd be ready to have a beverage. If I got off work at 6 a.m, or maybe I'd be too dog tired to do so. But like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be judged by it. I wouldn't want my partner to not tell me to my face and to tell other people that that's not their lifestyle. I wouldn't want that. Something's happening with my jaw. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying. Who moves in after the first date? Exactly. They do on Love is Blind. No Casey though. I hope she's on the. I don't think she will be. His answers seem like AI. You mean Edmund or Patrick? They have a mother-son relationship. Don't act up front. Oh, don't act up in front of these white people. She didn't even say goodbye, leave a note, send a homing pitch, and use telepathy or nothing. She sure didn't. Anna just bounced. And so I don't think it's fair to be like, but you didn't choose me, you chose somebody else. Girl, you weren't there. And I want love. But I would have chose you. So I don't know. Patrick is getting on my nerves. He's still defending Casey in real life. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I think she kind of just felt bad and I don't want to make her feel worse. So like, I'm just like a Denver guy, I do all the Denver things. And then there's like a video of him online and it is AI or filtered to the max. I was like, Patrick, this don't look like you. Oh yeah, Nick. Yeah. He does. So, anyways, the KB thing, he's like, I might die tonight. I might die tonight. I'm like, Edmund, if you don't calm down, bro. You don't calm down. I'm not here. I'm not here for Edmund right now. Like, Edmund is doing the most. He needs help. He needs help. And then that was the confusing thing too. He was like, I asked her, dude, I asked her back for the ring. And she was like, no, you act like I'm the only person who didn't go through something. So she didn't give it back. And I'm like, did you have to buy the ring? That's another thing about this show that I think is stupid. I don't think the men should have to propose. I think the women should propose too. I think anybody who's ready to get married or engaged should propose. I don't think that, because at the end of the day, it's an unfair disadvantage to the women. It's an unfair disadvantage to the women. At the end of the day, the men still have the advantage. And I know that's how it is in the real world, but like usually in the real world, you're dating for a while and you have a conversation about whether or not you're going to go and get married. Like, I don't think this day and age, anybody just surprises somebody with being a fiance. I think they've had a conversation at least once or twice prior that we, eventually want to get married. And if he just jumped down, made a loud noise, I'm like, oh, are you over me having this conversation, Gato? A fly got into my apartment for like the first time because I'm like, how can a fly get up here? And he's been chasing this fly down. It has been hilarious to see him just like sail through the air. And I'm like, oh, the fly must be over there. He just like jumps off of everything trying to get this fly. Anyways, yeah, I just am like, I think that they should be able to do whatever, because if love is blind, then like what does it all matter if we're all doing something different? Because it just, again, women have to then wait to then know who to choose based on who says they're gonna propose. If everyone can just propose to each other, then it would be so much easier. Anyways, who knows about that ring? All right, you guys, we did it. We did it in an hour and a half. Thank you so much for joining me to talk about Love is Blind. Whew. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you got the hee hee ha ha's while watching and you want to give your girl a tip, you can do so. Let me check here to see if anybody did already so that I can thank them in this moment. No, but thank you so much to Hard to Know, because you did give me that super thanks in the very beginning. And yeah, that's the end. Thank you for everyone who joined the live. I appreciate it. I see so many new faces. And maybe you were been OG, but I've never seen you comment before. Hi, Millie. Welcome. Hi, Ashley. Hello. Hello, Tavia XXO, Chrissy Sunshine. Hello. Obviously, Becca Kitty Meow Meow. You are a staple. Moy, thank you so much for being here. Haven't seen you before, but you said you're a longtime fan, so I love it. I love it. I love it. And Calandria and Dedria, and who else was in here? MW, thank you so much for joining. Again, Hard to Know. So I thank you and I appreciate you for joining on such short notice. You guys have a fantastic evening. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye. All together. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Okay, I believe you. Jump in the line, rock your body on time. Shake, 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 Sinora, shake your body right. Work.